How's it going, Giant fans? Hank here, right back at you with another short Giants video on the Big Blue Avenue YouTube channel. And before I get into the big news today, if you guys want to follow us on all of our social medias, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Blue Avenue. And of course, please don't forget to hit that big red button down below and give subscribe if you would like to see more content like this, or if you want to keep up with our normal live streams every Thursdays at 7 o'clock. So the big news is there is a distinct possibility this Sunday that Jake Fromm could be making his NFL debut as a starting quarterback against the Los Angeles Chargers. And why are the Giants in this position? Well, it's simple. Daniel Jones had a bad neck injury, so he was out last Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. So this essentially forced the Giants to find another quarterback, and they were able to take Jake Fromm off of the Bills practice squad and make him their backup quarterback. And after the Giants lost to the Dolphins, it was revealed that Mike Glennon had suffered a concussion, and as he is going through the concussion protocol, that now makes it even more likely that this Sunday he will make his first ever NFL start. And you know, it really goes to show you anything can change in the NFL, because up until he was a Giant last week, Jake Fromm was so far in the Bills depth chart that he hadn't even had an opportunity to dress for an NFL game as a backup. And now here he was last week on the Giants sideline in a uniform in case of emergency. And, you know, now here we are with the possibility that he could end up starting. But before we talk a little bit about NFL, let's go back a little bit to his college days. So he was taken in a draft class that featured a lot of really good quarterbacks, such as Tua, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow. And going back to his true freshman year, he came in when quarterback Jacob Eason suffered a knee injury in week 1 of the season. And you know, he almost led Georgia to a national championship. They did lose to the Alabama Crimson Tide in the championship game in overtime, but he also led them to several good seasons. He actually led the Georgia Bulldogs with 8,224 passing yards, with 78 touchdowns and 18 interceptions in his 3 years as a starting quarterback for the Bulldogs. And it begs a good question. With all those successful seasons he had with the Bulldogs, how come he fell so low in the draft? Well, I think one thing to take into consideration is that, you know, as while he was solid for the Bulldogs, it's also important to know that he had a lot of talent surrounding him. For instance, he had running backs such as Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift, and Sony Michel, and not to mention he had other NFL talent such as Andrew Thomas and Azeez Ojulari, who he will now be reuniting with the Giants as teammates. So for those of you who follow college, you know that Kirby Smart has done a really good job at putting out really good squads for the Georgia Bulldogs year in and year out. He is a really good recruiter. But in any event, let's take a look at his statistics from his junior year. His completion percentage was only at 60.8, while he threw for 2,870 yards, he only threw for an average of 7.4 yards through the air and had only 24 touchdowns. So while those numbers for the most part are decent and okay, they're not necessarily spectacular. And when people looked at Jake Fromm going into the draft, he had all the right tangibles that you want in the starting quarterback. He was a great leader, very intelligent, and he had decent footwork. I think the big issue was that he didn't necessarily have the arm strength. And because his arm strength wasn't that great, and because he was looked at as a game manager in Georgia, because as I said, they had some really good running backs, so they didn't really need him to pass the ball a lot. I think that's probably a big reason why he never really got a chance to start a game until quite possibly this Sunday. And so it'll be interesting to see what he does should he end up taking the starting job this Sunday against the Chargers, because the Chargers aren't going to have any film on him if anything, the only film they'd even have on him would be from college. And not to mention, the Chargers probably won't know what to expect. So maybe that'll be a good thing the Giants have going for them, because sometimes teams with an NFL quarterback making their debut can do well for maybe a good week or two. However, in the long run, I think while he has all the right qualities you want on the inside, I think the lack of a strong throwing arm could potentially be the reason why he unfortunately doesn't last too long in the NFL and doesn't really have a home in New York. But, I hope for his sake things work out well from the human side. But in any event, that's pretty much the situation the Giants are in. I'm really not expecting much of a difference between him and Mike Glennon, but who knows? There have been a lot of crazy things happening in the NFL this season, and maybe he does lead the Giants on a good run, but I don't know. It's all really guessing at this point. But in any event, and that is all I really have to talk to you about today with regarding the Giants quarterback situation. Don't forget, guys, if you liked what you saw, please don't forget to hit that big red button down below. Give us a like and a subscribe. And, of course, if you have your own opinions regarding Jake Fromm and the Giants quarterback situation, we would love to see your comments. Do you think that he could be the one that leads the Giants to a few unexpected victories down the road to the season? Or do you think he's just another quarterback that will make a cameo appearance and nothing more at best? But, folks, that'll just about do it for this video. I will talk to you guys again on Thursday when Tom and I do our weekly Big Blue Avenue show. But until next time, I'm Hank and Dichter, and I will see you guys later.